1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I work inside the shop, I've been using this little fan behind me. I had another one that was a ducted fan, a 2-foot ducted fan, and it actually was less efficient than this one, or at least it moved less air. This one worked better, but still, unless it's blowing directly on you, it didn't work that well. So I've got some ceiling fans now. What I've bought are 2 Hubbell fans, 96-inch blades, and it's actually 96-inch from tip to tip. They were packed quite well, very, very robust. The motor had little protectors on the motor just to keep it from rattling around. The individual blades, there's 6 of them, were separated by these. All the blades were in plastic bags, very well packed. There was the west fan and the east fan. The fan blades are down 2 feet from the ceiling, or a little bit more than that, because it's also 2 feet plus the motor. And then there's the blades. But that places the blades even with the lights up there. Those lights are all a uniform distance up from the floor. And what I didn't want was the fan blades below the lights, because then that causes a flickering, and I just hate that. So the blades in this case are even with the lights, and it should never cause a flickering. I'll take you up there now and show you the connections and what I've done to mount it inside this shed. When it was shipped, it had one spacer here, one little, like a 8-inch. I've got this here, but it's pressed inside the steel conduit. It's ugly. The wires are exposed. And also because this ceiling isn't finished. So I just screwed the bracket right into this purlin here. This C-clamp you see there is, they want something just in case the screws break, the bracket breaks, something comes bad. You don't want it falling on your head. So I've got that C-clamp there that is tied to you can see it's tied to a cable. The cable comes down, and that cable comes out of the inside. I think they meant it to come up the inside of the pipe. I didn't do it that way. And down here at the bottom, it's covered up, but that cable goes all the way through the middle of the motor, and it ties under the bottom, so it gives it some security. I didn't use a junction box there because I just didn't know why. The other thing to think about, this little wire here is important. That is the antenna. And if that's not poking out, it doesn't work. I found out by mistake on the other one, thinking the antenna was just for the light or something. But no, the switch on the wall works by a remote control radio signal. I've got these switches labeled east and west, because that's roughly the side that they're on of the building. These switches are not meant to be ganged, apparently. They're meant to have one room, one fan, and they have a single box, and they have a single plate. It's really hard to find these plates that actually cover this box. There's several different styles. I'm using metal boxes as well. But what I had to do to get these switches to fit inside this plate, I tried modifying one of these plates and I ended up basically breaking it. I had to file off these corners. That's how the corners are originally. And it's a square corner. It doesn't fit in this rounded edge of the plate. So I took a filed that off, and that one. And then the opposite side, I did it this corner and that corner. Right. You can see all the switches are connected. Just wires coming out the back. There's no screw terminals. Inside here, I've got the wire nuts that are doing all the connection. I would like to be able to use one switch for 2 fans, but I think whatever's inside this, I don't know how these communicate with the fans other than they appear to use a radio signal, but this switch here does put power to the fans somehow. I don't know the relationship. Anyways, one switch, one fan, and the trouble is I've got to reset these switches because if I have these both on, I press the eastern one on, east and west come on. Go figure. So I've got to reprogram these switches somehow. To program these switches, there's a cover, fits right there, and it just pretty much just friction. When you want to take it off, you just kind of pop it off the top and it slides off. And it exposes the set button. The instructions aren't that easy to follow, to program them, when you have more than one. When you have one room, one fan, one switch, yeah, it's pretty simple. Works really easy. When you have two fans, not so easy. There's actually 5 dip switches. The top 4 are for the frequency. The bottom one, the 5th one, is for a light. I think it's something to do with the light. I don't have a light on this unit, so I'm not going to worry about it. I've chosen different frequencies here. On this one, I think I have the top 2 dip switches are on, the bottom 2 are off. And on this one, I've got the top 2 off and the bottom 2 on. So it's exactly opposite. To program it, only program one at a time. This one's on, this is an on-off switch, this is off. Anyways, turning this off will turn the fan off and the light off and everything goes off. So I've got this one on, set your frequency, press this set button for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now theoretically that will set the frequency from here. The fan itself, there's no dip switches. So the fan just understands that this is the correct frequency that it needs to follow now based on what I did with the set switch. I'm going to set the other one. This one goes off, the west light or the left one is off, the right switch is on. Press the set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, both of these should be independent. You can see the fan over there doing its on the, that's actually the west fan or the left fan. There's a startup procedure where the blades wobble back and, or they rotate back and forth for a few seconds. And then it starts going. Both, they do that every time. Now I'll press the, what is the right switch or the east fan. That'll be a 6. See, it does its wobbling. You can hear it too. So I've got the west set on 1 and the east set on 6. And that should just go ahead and spin right up to 6. Takes a while. It's like a soft start. Good. Speeding right up. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to press the reverse button now. See if I can make that happen. To reverse these fans, the instructions say you have to have the fans running and then press the reverse button. And then they'll slow down, stop, start turning the other direction. Let's test it. Okay, I've done it to the west fan. It's slowing down. Okay, it goes through another startup procedure. I haven't touched it. This is doing it all. This is doing this all on its own. So I haven't touched it. This is doing it all on its own. It came to a stop, it paused, and now it's going backwards. That's amazing. So it's allowed to coast to a stop, or the fan motor knows to coast to a stop, then it restarts, but in reverse. And it's back at 1. Let's do it for the east fan. That's at 6. Press the reverse button. Slowing down. This is real time. I'm not doing anything different with the camera speed. It just takes a long time to coast. It pauses, thinks about it, and here we go. It's doing its startup procedure. Alrighty then. Success. See if it goes up to speed 6. So that's what it was set at before. I think it is. I've gone to speed 6 on the west fan. It appears to be speeding up. Good, I've got them operating separately now. It's a big improvement. If you found this video informative or you just enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thank you. See you next time.